Hey, what is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about creating Sentinels. Really, we're just going to talk about casting in general. We'll go over a couple of my mistakes. Maybe you can learn from them. And we'll go over some of the materials I use. All right, so here's a real Sentinel. Now, when I cast them, you have to fill in a lot of these gaps with clay. It comes out. It's not a problem. Um, that's pretty much so you don't create problems like this with your mold. It gets into every single crack. So then when you pull it apart, you have way too many small nooks and crannies for the resin to get into, and then it just creates a mess like this. That's exactly what happened here. That's why this happened. And that happened on a couple of them. Here's another one. Same thing. I didn't used to have a problem with it because that one's fine, but I'm working on that. All right, so this is what I use. It's called composite mold. It's different from other molds you'll find, primarily because you can reuse it. You throw this in the microwave for a minute and a half, it'll melt down to a liquid, and then you can reuse it. You can reuse them, they say about 30 times, but I've been using this stuff at least 30 times, and it's holding up fine for me. It's not expensive. You can buy it by the pound. I want to say 3 pounds of like slightly used direct from the company is, I think, around $50. And for me, that's golden because too many times I've gotten the one time use mold and screwed it up and wound up throwing it in the garbage. Too many times. All right, so just gonna take a quick look at some of these smaller pieces that I was able to do. I tried something with glitter. Yeah, I know. I thought it'd be funny, but it came out crappy. All right, so here's the resin I use. You can get this at Hobby Lobby. It's $23.99. You cannot use a coupon for it. This is the best deal I've found because this is 32 ounces total. And if you go price that out, it's the best there is. Home Depot has one. It's primarily used for flooring. I mean, this is too, but that one's a little harder to work with. You have to stir it for 6 minutes straight. It's very temperamental. If you mess up a little bit, it'll ruin your whole casting. All right, so you take this stuff, you melt it in the microwave, 90 seconds. You pour it in, then you can keep adding to it. What I like to try to do with this one, you could see it, was I tried to use like multicolor, like a clear, and then put some blue in later. I'm going to do that on the next one of my next ones, where I do like a multicolored Sentinel. Why? Well, because you can always paint it, but also you want something that's kind of unique. Otherwise, you can just go buy a Sentinel. Here's when I tried a different casting material. You can see a lot of air bubbles in the back. You got this damage up here. I don't know what causes that. Here's a nice clear one. This one came out pretty good. Has a little damage on the back. This thing you would just cut that off. That's where you pour in. Otherwise, this one's pretty nice. You could actually shine that up pretty nice. And I do have a bunch of arms that I was very successful getting done. Like even the fingertips are all there. It just needs a hole on the end, and it would go right on like that. And I have arms in different colors. Here's some green. Here's a green. No, this one's no good. This one, I don't know where the hand went. Here's another. This is what I was saying. Some of these are real temperamental. You can see this is like bulging out. I don't know what caused that. But again, you could clean this up pretty nice. I tried just casting some heads. I don't know. I didn't really like the detail of the face. It didn't come out as well as I'd hoped it would. At least not on that one. Here's a clear hand. But just as far as this stuff goes, you can see this is a full, pretty much ready to go. I actually want to step away from this I want to get into trying to cast some other things. I feel like I'm sentineled out for right now. Here's a vision I tried to cast from it was a Chinese bootleg. I thought he would look real cool and clear. It didn't come out well. This came out pretty cool and clear. Looks like ice almost. There's another head. I got heads scattered all throughout here. Half an arm. I tried doing a full crease entry, and this did not work out well. This was bad. This is another kind of casting material you can get. I have some floating around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. This is 10-minute casting. This stuff, you have to let it sit overnight. This stuff, 10 minutes. And I tried to use it. Now, here's the problem. This creates a lot of heat, which can get hot enough that it will melt this back to liquid form and then combine, once they're liquids, into this, which that's exactly what this Sentinel is. Crease entry. This was a waste. I had to throw out the whole mold. One of my few wastes, but I just wanted to see how it came out. I could do that definitely better, but it's not on my list right now. I have other things I want to cast. Here's half a foot. Here's another vision. Look, came out good, except the front half. This was one of my earliest Sentinels. I cut the leg off. I used that for a diorama. But you can see, how crazy is that? It's hollow. It really, this was my first one. It didn't come out well, obviously. Here's a problem that you may run into. Sorry, I keep flipping the camera around. Here, the silicone got stuck to the Sentinel torso. And it actually got stuck to the top half as well. It took me days to clean it, to get all that stuff off. But being that the lower torso is not as rare as the upper torso, I decided to forego this, especially since the tab broke, which they often do when you try to re-separate a Sentinel. So I'm going to have a full tutorial on using this stuff and casting coming up. I'm just not sure what project I want to work on for the tutorial. But I also have a separate mold of this, a permanent mold that I made a long time ago. And you can see, like, this is 95% good. There's some problems up here on the skull, head, some problems in here in the ribs. But nothing a good paint job wouldn't hide. It's just these air bubbles on the back, which I think I know what the problem was. That's definitely on. I'll probably do some torso head combinations in a tutorial coming up. Oh, look at this mess. This is like the worst. This was supposed to be a leg. Look how horrible that came out. Because what happens is it gets too hot and it melts this. It melts this stuff. Now, I've since learned by going to their website and looking at tutorial videos that they have on composimold.com, I think it's called. The way to avoid this is to throw this in the freezer for like an hour before you pour the molds, because when the casting heats up, it melts the mold. So if you chill this, and I have tested it, it has worked on smaller projects and pieces, but the leg of a Sentinel is so much plastic or resin that this center in here is going to get so hot. So we're going to have to play around with that a little bit. And there's no other way to do it. I've tried many different ways to cast the leg. It's just so much plastic. Short of using a permanent mold. When you get like a permanent mold, the one-time use mold, Smooth On, I think is the name of the company that makes it, the heat doesn't matter. I have a nice full torso somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Oh, it's buried. I know where it is. So there's definitely other things we can try. But if you look at like this, I think this came out really, really, really well, except for that spot in the chest. And I had some people say, hey, why don't you paint it up and make that battle damage, which I may wind up doing for a diorama. This piece is really cool, glows in the dark. It's only the front, but again, I needed stuff like that for a diorama. I need halves and legs and arms for dioramas because I like to do destroyed Sentinels in the dioramas. Like this one too. Just that problem in the back. I think I ran out of resin. So I was just like, well, we'll do a test. See how it comes out. This one came out pretty wild. I think I put some sparkle or something in here. Not glitter, something else. And it kind of, look at that. I don't know what it did. It kind of ate through it. See how he has no nose? I mean, not that he really has much of a nose, but this has no nose. This was just a, I was making a copy of that Predator hanging corpse thing. Hopper. Hopper. And here's another leg. See the problems with the legs? They're just too thick and they melt the casting material. So probably when I do want to do legs again, I'll have to get like a permanent. If you guys have any questions, leave me comments. I know there's only like 10 people right now watching my videos, and that's cool. You got to start somewhere. So any questions, hit me up in the comments. Check me out on Instagram. And that's it for today. Talk to you tomorrow.